exactly what it's going to take, not to get on the city council, but how to be a city council man or woman. No excuses, no politics, no more of that stuff.
Please conclude. And
that thing's going. Just as soon as I trade places with one of you, out it goes.
Our next speaker is Chris Pasternak.
Hello, Chris Pasternak, a citizen in the city of Warren.
Good evening.
First thing I'd like to talk about, Agenda 11A, about the grant. Last time I checked, I could believe that our fire commissioner is a grant writer. And we could be saving the city of Warren about $70,000. As the administrator of that grant, he would receive those funds, which means then we could deduct his salary by $70,000 because we're using those grant funds instead of the city funds and use that $70,000 somewhere else. Could be wrong, but just one little suggestion. Another interesting thing that I found is our mayor really James R. Fouts? There was a James R. Fouts who lived in Silva, North Carolina, with a birth date of 8/8/1929. He passed away this year. Was that our mayor? Or? I don't know, because he wouldn't put his true birth date on the affidavit. Everyone knows James R. Fouts. Apparently we don't. Another question is with the Code of Ordinances, and I'm going to go back to something I stated 2 weeks ago. Signs must be erected on private property. I'm still disputing that on 9 and Van Dyke, that is private property. I'm still looking into it, and as soon as I can prove that is city property, I believe we own that parking lot. All those signs that are there are in violation. Not only is there a Fouts sign there, there's someone else's sign there as well. Many council members and the mayor are also in violation of 2 non-illuminated election signs per candidate per issue is allowed for each lot frontage. There are many places where there are 3 signs for a candidate. That is in violation of an ordinance, which gives you up to a fine of $500 for each violation of that ordinance. Another thing, according to our city charter, which you all just violated when you all said yay to an item. According to the city charter, 5.3, under F, it says, the vote upon the passage of all ordinances and upon the adoption of all resolutions shall be taken by yes or no votes, and shall be entered upon the record. And based off of that, the only way you can vote is yes and no. And I do believe you took an oath of office that you would uphold the charter. You all just violated that charter. One other thing I was going to talk about, apparently I have enough time, thankfully, is recycling. When this contract was taken in, I believe there was a clause in that contract that they must
Please conclude.
do some advertising for that recycling. Still have yet to see that advertising. I think recycling can be a great thing and an asset to the city if it's done properly. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Eugene Sawyer.
Good evening, members of council, citizens of Warren. My name is Eugene Sawyer, and I'm proud to say next month I'm going to be 81 years old. Wow. I am, by no doubt, the oldest candidate to run for city council at the at-large position. And I agree with Mr. Berry. The first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 3-minute rule. It's an embarrassment to everybody in this city. It's unbelievable that people can allow this to happen. And another thing that's going to happen is I am for the line item budget. There's no doubt about it. We need it because you people fail Every year you do that. And last but not least, when I'm on the city council, I'm going to propose an oversight commission. The details will follow in the ensuing weeks, because we have money in the city that's untapped. We have money in the DDA, the Building Authority, Joe Coach, Stillwell Manor. We've got money now in the Library Commission, and not one of you know where any of this money is going. And if we have an oversight commission, believe you me, we'll know where this money is, where it's going, and what it's going to do. It's not going to be mishandled, or misplaced, or left unattended. This oversight commission will be something that'll know where our tax dollars are going. And that's not a threat, it's a promise. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mark Wire. Good evening.
Good evening. Mark Wire, resident of Warren for about 20 years now. A couple of announcements. Lion Kathy, mayor candidate there, mentioned the Warren Lion City Fair that starts tomorrow, runs through Sunday. Please come out and enjoy it. It's kind of funny, we got a fair going on tomorrow and we got a circus going on tonight. Anyways, speaking of that circus, I can just picture this. The deputy mayors, both 1 and 2, and Mr. Mayor sitting somewhere right now, texting Mr. Bacamino to give some good answers. That was good. That hesitation there, about 8 seconds on his answers, that was pretty good. Anyways, about 3 weeks ago, some of you were there, the GM Foundation donated $75,000 back to the community. The Warren Lions were part of that, one of the 5 different organizations, and I want to thank GM Foundation for that. Back to some questions on the Building Authority. Mr. Stevenson, if you go back to the minutes of November 10th, I personally myself asked Mrs. Green if it was legal for us to okay checks for Ms. Comartin as a per diem, and she said the city charter okayed it, and she read those, and I have copies of those minutes. I just forgot to bring them, but it's the November 10th meeting, so it is legal for the Building Authority to issue Ms. Comartin a per diem check. I'm not sure where the new city attorney's opinion is. We were waiting for that at our Building Authority meeting. He was not there. Speaking of the Building Authority, bickering back and forth about $50 for Ms. Comartin went over the last 3 years up till about 6 months ago. The Building Authority overspent about $300,000 on projects and items that weren't even in the original bond. You guys are overseeing $50 for Ms. Comartin, but $117,000 was funneled through the Warren Fitz Rec Center that doesn't even belong to the city. So when you look for the $50, why don't you look for the $300,000 that has been misappropriated through the Building Authority? Wednesday, June 8th, Committee of the Whole meeting. 5 of you barely said anything about the budget. Sounds like it looked like you had your minds made up. I'm not sure, but it's awful funny when the next day everything's due for tonight's agenda and the budget was on it. And then all of a sudden this page comes out tonight. Something tells me that might have been prepared well before Wednesday night, but that's just my opinion. Miss Camp, nice job tonight on speaking on the budget. To the rest of you, good or bad, at least you said so. Oh wait, 8 of you did. Mr. Green, silence out of you, very disappointing. Not a word out of Mr. Green tonight. Very, very disappointing. As the old commercial says, got milk, grow a spine. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Tomas Vanya. I'm sorry, I can't tell if that last letter is an A or an O. Vanya, I'm sorry. My apologies.
Thank you, Council. Tomas Vanya, resident of Warren. I came up here 2 weeks ago and I talked about the fact that the city has no way of access, or there's no easy way for citizens to access information. So guess what? I made my own. What's the website? warrenlife.info. I had a few people question how popular it was. I told 4 people of the website address. Previously, it was 300 people would visit the website within a 48-hour period. Yesterday, the website crashed because I had 300 people within a 4-hour period. A lot of people must want information about the city of Warren. So what exactly is up there? News stories, council meetings, building authority, special meetings, budget hearings. All that's up there, and the city doesn't want to offer it to you, I'm offering it to you. And to the people that have submitted FOIAs to me, I'm in the process of uploading those to the server right now. If you can give me a little bit of time, it'd be greatly appreciated. Next thing I have here is, I was going to talk about this 2 weeks ago, but we ran out of time. I did an analysis of the May 10th council meeting. It's 3 pages, and basically states every single violation this council has made. You guys made 18 violations during one council meeting. I don't think that's right. Do you guys think that's right? Why must you guys, or why must we follow the rules if you guys choose not to? In regards to the amendments that will be agenda item, or the next agenda item, I'd like to thank Mr. Stevens for sending that to me, due to the fact that the e-packet didn't have them in the correct order. I have a concern with it, though. Why under approval of the bills is the building authority listed if you haven't yet gotten a legal opinion as to whether the city council can act on those checks? And also, if you look at tonight's agenda and compare it to the city council rules of procedure, there's no agenda item for announcements. And also, if you look,
Please
I
conclude.
guess I'm out of time. See you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Gloria Sanker. Good evening.
Good evening, City Council. I'm candidate for City Council in District 2. A major decline in family income and property taxes makes this budget the hardest one to balance, really, since we became a city back in 1957. In fact, this budget is really all about saving this city. This is the worst budget crunch the city has ever had, and it's going to get worse. It's not just this year. We've got to stop pretending that everything is okay. We need people who can come up with some real solutions without increasing taxes and water rates. You aren't going to be popular, your ideas won't be liked, but if you save the city by keeping the priority services of police, fire, and EMS, our tax base won't move out, and we won't lose our talented graduates. Then you will have filled the obligation to the people. This isn't a fun year to run for office. Lots to be done and not too much money to do it with. The truth is that there's going to have to be shared sacrifice by everyone. If we lay off employees, let's lay off administrative staff by equal amounts. Government has to become leaner as there become fewer employees. And as for City Council, you're going to have to show to the people and to the employees that you are willing to sacrifice along with them.